Welcome to Homeless in San Diego. My name is Greg Angel, the CEO at Interfaith Community Services. I'm here with Ross today. Ross, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So, Ross, you were sharing that thankfully you've never been what I would call street homeless, unsheltered homeless, but you've been through some really, really challenging, tough situations, and I just appreciate you being here today to share with our listeners your journey and inspire some others who may be having challenges of their own to seek out help when the time is right.
Yeah, we all need help. You got to reach your hand out there and ask for it.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
I'm a native Californian.
What part of California?
Orange County.
Oh, we're in Orange County.
The city of Orange.
The city of Orange, the original Orange County.
But then I was raised in Encinitas.
Okay, so you've been here a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
When there was nobody here.
I bet. And what do you do for work? What have you done for work throughout your career?
Well, right now I'm a meat cutter.
You came to Interfaith just last year in a really tough time in your life.
Yes,
What was going on?
Well, I lost my mom and I relapsed after I had 6 years of sobriety. And after I relapsed, I ended up losing my job. After I'd been with the company for 10 years, and it was just all downhill after that. I spent 2 years drinking, spending all of my savings. I think I went through almost $50,000 just in drinking and paying bills, staying alive. But my main thing that I was doing was drinking on a daily basis. And I probably had 50 blackouts in the last 2 years of that time. And it just got to the point where I said enough is enough, I got to get help. And when I was trying to get help, the COVID hit and nobody was taking anybody. So I was stuck out there.
I mean, you were making phone calls. You were trying to get into some sort of treatment, some sort of program.
Yep, and all they kept saying was, give us your number and we'll call you back if something, changes. Nobody ever called me back, and I just kept drinking. And finally I had to leave my apartment that I was in because of circumstances arose. And I went and stayed at a motel. I mean, I was never homeless. I always had money for a room, or I had a friend that had a couch. But usually my friends with couches or a place for me to spend the night were using or drinking, doing the same thing that I was doing. And after 3 or 4 days at the motel, I was spending too much money staying there, and I found a friend in Oceanside where I could go sleep on his couch. And on my way there, I got all close to his house. I was a couple blocks away, and I had an alcohol-induced seizure behind the wheel.
Oh, wow.
And I hit 4 parked cars, from what I was told, and woke up in the hospital with a 4.6 blood alcohol level. And the nurse told me, people die with less than that, and it was kind of a miracle that I was alive.
And nobody got hurt?
Yeah, that I didn't hit any kids because it was in a residential area,
Oh, Ross.
It just blew my mind.
Yeah.
Somebody was looking out for me right then and there at that time.
Yeah.
And
so you wake up in the hospital. You didn't know what had happened.
No. All I remember is being behind the wheel and started shaking, having convulsions.
Oh, man. Do you remember what it felt like when you woke up in the hospital and the nurse shared some of that information? Do you remember what you felt at that time?
Shocked. So I went back to the same motel I was at before in Vista and stayed there for 2.5 days. And on the third day, the lady was coming in to clean the room, and I couldn't get up out of bed. I was shaking so bad, and I couldn't walk because my legs weren't working.
Wow.
From detoxing.
Yeah.
I couldn't. All I wanted to do was get to my truck, get to the liquor store, get a bottle, and come back. And she's like, well, are you going to pay for another day, or aren't you? I said, well, come back in a little while. She came back, and I said, you know what? I can't make it down to the office to pay for another day. So she left, and a half hour later, the maintenance guy didn't even knock on the door. He just walked in and said, hey, man, do I need to call an ambulance for you? And I right then and there, I said, that's probably the best thing to do right now. And when the ambulance showed up, the paramedic walked in, and he started looking around the room and said, man, are you suicidal? And at the time, I mean, I didn't even think about it. I told him, I said, wow, you know, now that I look around, I said, it looks like I am, you know, but I didn't think I was, you know, because I was just drinking, doing what I do. You know, suicide didn't even come into my head. Just having another drink is all I was thinking about. But then, you know, when it came out of his mouth, somebody else acknowledging that, you know, it's like, holy crap, you know, this guy's right. It looks like I'm trying to drink myself to death, you know.
They took you back to the hospital.
Yeah.
And you're there at the hospital, and then something a little different happened that time.
I was there for, I'd say 3 or 4 days detoxing, and they had me on suicide watch. And for all you people who don't know, if you're on suicide watch, the beds have alarms on them. And I was doing that for a couple days. And on the 4th day, they moved me from my own room to a 2-man room. And within 10 minutes, some guy shows up, asks my name, and said he was from Interfaith and wanted to know if I would like to go into a program. You know, and he says he's got a bed for me. And right then and there, man, I almost broke down crying. I said, you know, where have you been? I've been trying to get help for months. It was like an angel, man, walked through the door.
I was going to say it must have felt like sunshine, but then you just took the words and went to a higher power.
It blew my mind, you know, and he said, get ready. I'll have a car downstairs in 10 minutes to take you to RCP. It's called Recuperative Care Program for Interfaith.
So you came to our recuperative care program, which is for folks who have been in hospitals and still have some sort of recuperative care need and don't have a place to go to do that. So you came over to the recuperative care center, and you were there for about a month.
30 days, yeah.
And then were you able to maintain your sobriety during those 30 days?
Oh yeah. I mean, when that guy showed up, you know, like I said, that's what I've been waiting to get into a program. I've been trying, but the COVID hit and nobody was taking anybody, and it was like a miracle when he walked through the door and told me he had a place for me.
Yeah.
And right then and there, I made up my mind, man, I'm done drinking. I've got to stop drinking, especially after paramedics asking if I was suicidal. I don't want to die drunk. You know, I don't want to die drunk. And I made up my mind that was it. You know, I'm done with the alcohol. I'm done with, you know, I did drugs when I was younger, but I stopped doing all that stuff, and the alcohol had a grip on me. I just couldn't stop. That's the main. I've never had a problem stopping anything except alcohol, you know.
Well, and you said before we started that now your life is more important than alcohol.
It is.
What tools, how did you get to that point? How did you go from, I can't stop, I know I need to stop, I can't, to now saying, no, my life is more important? What happened in between?
Somebody reached out to me and showed me a place to get help, and that was Interfaith. You know, and everybody has helped me that I've come in contact with that works here or that has been in this program.
When you were asked what 5 words would come to mind about your experience here at Interfaith, you said help, stability, tools, support, teaching.
And I should have said hope also.
Hope. And those are some of the things that you learned through the recuperative care program, and then you moved into a longer term residential addiction treatment program.
Yeah, 90-day program.
And then you graduated that program. And
I did.
And what happened from there? Where did you go?
Well, while I was in the program, I got proactive in my sobriety and started calling around to outpatient programs. and finding residential sober living housing. And I hooked up with with a program. They had an outpatient program where you get counseling for substance abuse, for mental help, and then you do groups, 2 or 3 a week, 2 one-on-ones with a counselor. They discourage you from getting a job, which I told them when I got into the clean and sober living, or when I started dealing with them, that work is substantial to my sobriety, because boredom and isolation are triggers for me. So I can't sit around doing me all day long, self-care. I need to be doing something. So I got a job within a week after being in the clean and sober living, and that's a big part of my sobriety.
Yeah. So what does the future hold for you? What are some words that you think about when you think about your future at this point?
Sobriety, stability, being an active member of society, being that friend that somebody can call if they need help. I just, all around, I want to be a better person. I don't want to be an alcoholic, and I don't want to be that guy. Don't call him. He'll come drunk, or he'll bring alcohol, or you can't trust him,
And when I asked you why are you coming on the show today? Why do this? Why come and share? You were real clear about why you're here.
If I can help somebody else stay clean and sober, it's all worth it, It's people helped me, and like I was saying earlier, we all need help, man. Just reach out the hand and ask for it. It's easier to get now since the COVID is kind of subsiding, but even when I was we were deep into COVID, man, I kept reaching my hand out and the doors kept getting slammed on me, because of COVID. And then somebody from Interfaith showed up, man, and reached out to me, and that's all it took.
Well, I'm so grateful that moment happened for you, that one day at that one hospital, that guy showed up and was able to get you into our recuperative care program.
It changed my life.
Clearly.
Yeah.
And you've put in so much hard work since then, because we're talking almost a year ago at this point. Right?
The longer you stay sober, the easier it is. It might seem tough in the beginning, but if you stick with it, man, it's just a walk in the park.
Well, and I hope that you can help inspire somebody who might hear this message today and reach out and ask for help. In the show notes, we'll have information on how to access our treatment programs. We have detox, residential treatment, our own outpatient services, as well as graduate housing. So we'll have ways for people to access that. Our recuperative care is for any individual, veteran or civilian, who's in a local hospital and is being discharged and doesn't have a place to get better, to recuperate. So we'll have some information on how you can access those services. If you know somebody who's in that problem, ask them to talk to the social workers at the hospital. It's another good way to access those services. Ross, thank you so much for sharing your journey and for being thinking about your words, demonstrating the impact of teaching, of support, of tools, and reaching out when need be.
It's my pleasure, man. Thank you for having me here. I hope I got through to some people out there. Life's a lot better when you're sober.
Thank you, Ross. Thank you to our listeners for being here, for taking some time. Hope you're inspired and ready to help. And Ross, appreciate you greatly.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, everyone.